Growing up, I always looked forward to eating healthy home-cooked meals. My mom's cooking was the best. But as time went on and life got busy, I found myself having to stop at vending machines or fast food restaurants for food. I'm sure everyone in class can relate to that. But after some time in this routine, I started to feel sick and tired, and I started to put on a lot of weight. I made a deal with my girlfriend that I was going to do whatever it took to start eating healthy again. But how exactly was I going to do that? We signed up at our local gym, and then I went online and I did some research to see how it was I could start eating healthier. In my research, a few things that I found that were interesting were that processed foods are actually really bad for your body, juicing can be very beneficial to you, and we need to make changes as a people to start living healthier lives in the future. Processed foods have become such a large part of our lives that it's very hard to tell what's processed and what isn't. The American Cancer Society published an article written by a group of nutritionists in 2011 explaining exactly what food processing is. They define food processing as any time that you refine grains, salt or smoked meats, or freeze and can vegetables or fruits. It turns out that when we consume these foods, we're actually doing a lot of harm to our body. The article states that we actually have an increased risk for cancer when we consume these foods as well as weight gain. There was an article written in 2011 by Carlos Monteiro of Cambridge University. He did a 30-year study in Brazil that looked at lower class and middle class families to look to see what types of foods they were purchasing from the grocery store. It turned out in the beginning, the families were typically purchasing natural and organic fruits and vegetables. But towards the end of the study, majority of the foods that were purchased at the grocery store were actually ultra-high processed foods. This article calls for government regulation as well as limiting the amount of foods that we can actually buy that are considered processed because of the risks that are involved. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I do think that we need better education to know what's healthy and how to prepare healthy foods. But speaking of healthy foods, one way that people can begin to eat healthy foods is by juicing or by doing a juice fast. Yi-Hung Lin wrote an article for the American Journal of Medicine that explains exactly what a juice fast is. He says that a juice fast is a 3 to 10 day period where one only consumes fruit and vegetable juices. Now, we're not talking V8 Splash or orange juice or anything like that. We're talking when you take actual fruits and vegetables and put them through a juicer and drink them immediately. There are many benefits that you can get from juicing, including increased energy, weight loss, as well as flushing toxins from the body. Now, a juice fast may not be for everybody, but you can also incorporate it as a meal replacement, like how you do with protein shakes. That way you'd be able to get the vitamins and minerals that you're not normally getting from eating processed foods. The American Journal of Medicine also released an article stating that one person was sent to the hospital from doing a juice fast. It's important to recognize that there are guidelines that you need to follow when doing a juice fast. This person actually ended up with stage 3 kidney failure because he did a 6-week juice cleanse. It's not recommended to do anything more than 3 to 10 days, so too much of a good thing can also be very bad. But regardless of which diet it is you decide to follow, it's important to recognize that we have a problem with the American diet and it really needs to change. Elizabeth Harris wrote an article for the CDC that listed the top 10 causes of death in 2013. This included heart disease, stroke, diabetes, as well as cancer. All of these can be a result of a poor diet. Obesity is at an all-time high in our country, and we need to make big changes for the next generation to come. Cynthia Ogden wrote an article for the Journal of American Medical Association that showed in 2013 that 2/3 of adults were considered overweight. 38% of youth ages 2 to 18 were considered overweight as well. It's pretty obvious that the youth in our country is learning our poor eating habits from the adults. Think about what kind of country we would be living in if we actually had an example for them to follow. But I'm sure it doesn't sound very pleasant, but it's going to be well worth it in the end. I suggest to make changes to your diet, you find somebody to make changes with, whether it be a friend or a significant other or a family member. That way you'd have somebody to help you along the way to support you through making these difficult changes. But now that we can recognize that processed foods are actually very unhealthy, we can utilize dietary changes such as juicing to help make the changes we need to make to our diets for years to come.